It's not faux patina, it's only tan-colored loom. I've read many comments like this on various blogs and forums, but it's wrong. There is a reason that the tan-colored loom is exactly tan-colored and not a delicate pink or a silky purple or a dainty blue. And that is to simulate age, to simulate the color that some types of loom will develop over a few decades of use. I'll get back to why I dislike it so much, but first let's do a quick experiment. One of the worst sinners of late have been Omega. This is the original version of the Seamaster 300 reissue from 2014. An original reissue is a bit of an interesting concept in itself, but one we'll leave for another time. There's a lot of beige or peach colored loom on this watch. What happens if we replace it with a much lighter hue with a slight blue tint, as loom often has? And then there's those hands. It's not too bad in this light, but I owned one of these, and in certain lights the plated brass hands would not catch the light at all and just appear black. So let's make those white, Speedmaster style. And a final touch. Let's clean up the dial a little, like Omega did themselves with version 2 of this watch from 2021. There, a watch with more contrast that doesn't pretend to be aged. I certainly prefer it. Let's look at the original again, and back to the lighter version. Alright, let's jump back in time. This is a vintage second generation Seamaster 300 from 1964, reference 165024. The loom has acquired a patina that matches the years of punishment that this watch has received. But this is not what it would have looked like in 1964, of course. Because of an Australian company called Watchco, we can, more or less, see what a new Seamaster 300 would have looked like in 1964. Watchco simply bought up a lot of spare parts for the Seamaster 300 that Omega was still producing for their older watches and built a kind of genuine replica of the watch from the 1960s. This later made Omega stop selling parts to anyone but authorized service centers, so the last Watchco Seamaster 300 is from around 2016, but that's a different story. Obviously, there's no patina on the new old Seamaster 300, and that's what somebody in 1964 would have seen on their arm. Jump forward a little less than 60 years and the watch looks like this. It has earned its battle scars and its patina. To me, this is an example of the Japanese concept of wabi-sabi, the appreciation of transience. The things don't last forever, and of the imperfections acquired over time. If we attempt to recreate this outside of time, we are creating a faux world, simulacra. We create imitations that are but representations of the real thing, and not the real thing itself. What if we took the new version of the 1964 Seamaster and tried to make it look like it was in fact from 1964 with some Fauxtina? Then we'd end up with something like this. A bastard of time, if you ask me. Am I reading too much into all of this? Sure I am. It's just a watch after all. But I also mean it. I want the real thing. I don't want to watch a French film dubbed into American English.
You could go to a movie for a quarter.
I want to watch foreign language films with subtitles in their original language. I don't want to go to Disneyland to see a European castle. I want to go to a European castle to see a European castle. I don't want a pair of new leather boots that are made to look like a used pair of leather boots. I want a pair of boots that are true to what they are, new. There is something alienating about the fake. Something untrustworthy. It's like people who appear to pretend. We like them less. We trust them less. Genuine people are the people we like the most. And the same goes for watches. And to me, these brands of craftsmanship are degraded when they too create the simulacrum. These are manufacturers that essentially produce an unnecessary product that should evoke feelings of the analog, of the mechanical, of the world before everything became fake news and post-truth. Fauxtina shatters this perception and makes mere fashion items out of something that is, and should be, something more. Alright, let's finish this off with one of the more extreme examples from later years. The Omega Seamaster 300 No Time to Die edition. I'll get into the whole Bond thing another day, but for now, let's just de-Fauxtina this thing and see what we get. There, that's better. Thanks for watching, and stick around for another 59 seconds for a quick introduction to a tool I'm part of making, and that I think is very useful if you invest in the stock market. Are you still using spreadsheets to write notes to stocks you're trying to keep track of? Do you forget why you wrote that note in the first place? Or if the price had gone up or down when you wrote it? Is it all just too difficult to keep track of and a bit too chaotic? StockPad solves your problem. Find and add the stock to your list, write your note and paste in URLs to save articles, and that's it. Your note is saved forever unless you delete it. StockPad keeps track of the change in price since you added the stock and between each note, so you won't forget if your note was based on bad news or good news. Come back anytime to add notes or read the old ones. You can sort them all by how many notes have been written, the date, days since the last note, and more. And it's all free. Yeah, that's right. This is a side project, and we have made it free for all to use. Good luck with your investments.